Good to see you.
There we go. You too,
All
bro.
right.
Yo,
Hey,
Blake
Chris.
always looks so fucking serious when he's trying to log in.
He's still looking serious.
Blake, take your vitamins. Uh, uh, Damien,
Yo.
Keith.
Hey, Keith.
Hey, well, Damien, how are you?
I'm doing well. And yourself?
Doing good. Thank you so much for joining us today. Real pleasure to have you
Hey,
guys.
D. That's awesome. Blake, how you doing, man? You all right?
Doing
Good.
good. Good to see you guys.
Good to see you. Good to see
Good
you,
to see
brother.
you.
How you doing, Keith? Nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you, Blake. How are you today?
Doing all right. Just got done with some work and here with you guys now. It's morning for you, right?
Yes, it's morning around 8 o'clock here.
Right on.
Wow.
Good morning.
Thank you, guys. So we're all good to start?
Yeah.
Okay.
Rock and roll.
So, guys, how are you doing today?
Doing all right. And yourself?
Doing good, thank you. So, how's the day so far?
Long.
Long.
Cool, cool. So, guys, your new album, Call Me the Devil, was out Jan 29 last Friday. So, would you like to tell me a bit on the songwriting and production that goes behind this new album?
Go ahead, Gil.
Well, as far as like the songwriting, what are you looking for? Inspiration or just looking at how everything started?
Production and the work behind the making of this album?
Well, this album's 10 years in the making, Keith. Let's be honest. It's been a while. I mean, our last album, No God, No Peace, we put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into that one too, man. And luckily, Blake came aboard after that, and we solidified our lineup. And we went into this not even knowing if we were going to do a new record, but sometimes the musical diarrhea comes out, and I will tell you that a lot of it has to do with just the unrest in the world, the civil unrest, the political disobedience, the bullshit that we have to deal with just government entities and overreach and everything else. There's a lot of shit that feeds into this, Keith. So I think we had a lot of inspiration to draw from. We're very heavily into just speaking our minds and free speech. Obviously, second, I mean, I know I'm big 2A. I'm pretty sure these guys are too because we all love guns. So, Blake loves your guns. But
Yeah, they're
we
pretty
have a
cool.
lot to go on there. And the thing is, music can be inspired differently than lyrics can. I mean, lyrics just, go to Damien, man. I don't even touch that because he comes up with these insane things to write about that actually, even though when you first read them, they might not relate to exactly what is happening in the world, but then you start really delving into it, and the more it just seeps into your head, you just realize that, I mean, shit, he's covering what's actually happening right now. So we started writing a few years ago. Unfortunately, our bass player Johnny Cardenas passed away,
Okay.
but we wanted to carry on and just continue writing something that was going to be just the best that we could bring to the table and just the best that we've done. So, I mean, personally, I believe we've put our best foot forward and we've put out the best music that we've ever had the opportunity to create together. Take it
Fantastic.
away,
What do you
guys.
say?
Yeah. I guess going on to the back half of that question, as far as the making of the actual songs, Kill, he did a lot of work to write the riffs and present it to me and Damien to then kind of go back and forth a little bit. He can record himself, I can record myself, and so we were able to send what I call sketches, just so that we can kind of get ideas on the same board and make sure that our visions are aligned. And then when it came time to actually do the productions for all the instruments on the album that you hear now, Kill flew down to my place, my home studio here,
Mm.
and we tracked all the guitars first. That was actually what we started out with, because we had all the demos and the bass lines previously that we knew what the songs were going to sound like. So we tracked guitars, and then I tracked my drums to his guitars so I could play off of him a little bit and kind of make things a little bit more interesting for me. And then he was tracking bass while I was doing drums and all the editing. Um, the editing was its own whole phase after all the tracking was done, and then he was doing bass, and so I was able to get everything locked in all the instruments together because we knew that this was going to be a dense album with a lot of elements going on, and so everything needed to be on the grid. It needed to be tight, locked in, Fear Factory style. I took inspiration from Fear Factory and some of those other industrial bands because we are an industrial thrash metal band, so that fits with the genre that we're in. And I wanted to keep as much organic feel as I could with those kind of, I don't want to say limitations, but within that kind of realm. So all the performances were human. With the drums, obviously, are enhanced with samples, but I wanted to maintain velocities and that human performance in it. And then the most human element actually is the vocals. So when we were doing vocal recording, we went back and forth a few times on how we should produce the vocals and how they should sound. And we settled on a good method of having his performance stay like relatively organic and kind of flow on its own around the structure of the instrumentation. And then once the drums and the guitars and bass were all locked in, then we had that foundation to then do the vocal editing. And then I was able to go through and do all the post-production, all the backing tracks and orchestrations and synths and stuff, and layer all that in too. And so this was a good 10 months of work for me. This was my sole focus for a good, better part of a year. So there's a lot that went into it, a lot of steps, and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that came together to make this happen.
And Del Taco as well. I mean, as we've
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully that shares some insight on sort of the crafting of all of this.
What's really crazy is when I'd come over there to go do vocals for the songs, and he'd be working on the sampling of stuff, and some of the stuff I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. What are you using a keyboard there for? And then like on reject control and stuff like that. And then he's like, well, check it out. So I would hear it just with the samples, and I'm just like, kind of strange. And then I hear it in context, and I'm like, that's dope, dude. And so the amount of work that Blake put into this can't be understated. I mean, he fucking kicked ass on this thing, man. So, and lyrically, it was pretty easy for me. This is probably the easiest record I've ever written. We were all on the same page. We're all thinking the same thing. And once that, was determined, then I just went to town and everything worked. And like I said, this is the easiest record I've ever written myself. But these guys, they were on their own plane. A lot of times I'll have a lot to do with the arrangements and changing stuff, but there's nothing to change. I just said, where do you want lyrics? And that was that. It's pretty cool.
I think, I mean, honestly, Blake and I were just connecting on a different realm, man. I mean, the times when, Damien and I had written together before on the last few albums, and we always had this revolving door of bass players and drummers, it seemed like. Well, I mean, people that were either never satisfied or we couldn't really get to that next level with them. And Blake just brings a completely just different element that we've never had before. And it allowed me to write better. It allowed Damien, I think, to write better. If you don't mind me saying, I think that's correct.
Yeah.
But I felt like I was writing with the intent to say, okay, Blake, just do what you do here and bring what you bring right here. And then if there's something that you want me to adapt to what you're doing, I want to do that. And he's so goddamn apt with the recording and production style of it. I mean, there was no problem with just putting my complete trust in him and knowing that the songs that we were bringing to the table were going to be represented to just the best or the fullest capacity, I guess you could say. Really happy with everything, man. I mean, and we had Mayor Applebaum mastering the CD for us, and he did a wonderful job bringing everything to life and working in conjunction with Blake on getting everything ready. So it just turned out great, man. I mean, I'm really fucking excited, man. This release is out.
In terms of working together on that workflow, communication is very essential, and so we had a shared Dropbox account to where we would upload files, and then we can communicate relatively quickly on where we're all at. And so it also allows us to work on our own time, which is very important for me, especially at this stage of my life. I need to be able to have the flexibility to do things when I'm able to get to them. And there's always like little pockets of time here and there that you can kind of squeeze in. And so this album was definitely built, I guess, sort of a lot of bands do it this way these days because there's bands that have people all around the country or around the world even. Um, but having those lines of communication open that we can always just check in and see where we're all at, that was definitely the key factor in being able to make this go forward.
Yeah, fantastic. And I had the pleasure to listen to the entire album, and I have to say it's an awesome industrial thrash metal album that you guys put out. Great vocals, amazing musicianship, the musical progression, the power, the energy from the start to the end is fantastically done and totally an awesome album for 2025. And the intro, indoctrination, starting from that, following with the new world, welcome to the new world order, and ending with all in God's name, everything. From start to the end. It's a great album. Like it's not just a song that you pick and listen to it. It's like an album that you listen as a whole. That's what. Like back in the days we used to do when we have a cassette or a CD. We just play the entire album. We don't pick songs. So this is an album that you ought to listen that way. And I totally loved each and every song for this album. So thanks guys for the of the music that you have done for this year and wonderful. And as a band, as a creator, so what are your thoughts on this album and how do you guys feel about the outcome?
I love it. It was Blake's idea for me to sing lower. This is the lowest I've ever sang before on a whole record. I've done it for a couple songs, and he really liked my voice on Soul Destroyer on the last record. And he said, "Why don't you just sing everything that way?" I'm like, I never thought of it. So I gave it a go. It took a while to get used to because I've been singing in a higher register for a really long time. But then once I did, it became easier. And then and I liked it. There's not so much strain, And then you it's when I was doing the vocals, I wasn't paying attention to it. I was just paying attention to, am I on time? Am I doing this right? You know what I mean? And then I'm starting to hear the mixes, and I asked Blake, I'm like, dude, did you do something to my voice? He's like, yeah, I put EQ on it. Well, no, you didn't like pitch shift me or something. He's like, that's your voice. I'm like, wow, it's really cool. So I listened to it now, and Kill was all about it too. He's like, yeah, dude, sing lower. I'm like, all right. So I did, and this is without question the greatest thing this band's ever done. It's not even close.
There's a couple of songs that really pop up in mind when Damien's talking about that and singing lower. Reject Control is one of them, obviously. I mean, it's down a little bit in a lower tuning as well. We're down in G on that one. But man, he read the room on that just perfectly, dude. And Blake just opened up things with just the drums that he put on there and allowing everything to develop over time along with the vocals. And I mean, it's truly one of the grindiest songs we've ever done. It's awesome. But also something anticipating death as well. I mean, you hit that thrash element with it, but you kept it a little bit lower and you weren't pushing too hard on it until you got to those choruses and you fucking let it rip, man. And that was great, man. I mean, like I said, I'm proud of the songs we have on there. Every song represents what different time on the album, like where we were at that point. The flow of the album is great. And like you said, Keith, just everything from indoctrination and leading into New World Order, Welcome to the New World Order, and then ending with All in God's Name. I mean, it is a true, it's a listening experience. Damien had something really cool, and you want to talk about what you're sending out with the CDs? Just
Oh,
if you don't mind saying it, yeah, it's pretty cool. Just if you can, let him read something to you. This is really cool, man. Yeah, he brought it up to us, and just something really nice that he's throwing in with the CDs there when they go out. Kind of like a little promo with it.
yeah. So this is what I wrote. I got this piece of paper in here, and it says, before listening to this CD for the first time, we have a simple request. Get yourself into whatever place your mind needs to be. Relax, have drinks, smoke, you know where you want to be and get there. If possible, headphones can provide the best ride. Then hit the play button and dedicate yourself to just under 45 minutes to this album and enjoy. From all of us, thank you for your support.
Beautiful.
It's cool, man. I mean, just something. Now, I don't know if I'll be able to write that exactly for you, Keith, when you get your promo kit, but you get the concept now. You actually heard it from
Yeah.
the horse's mouth right there. Okay. So you know exactly what you're getting right there, but it is a listening experience. And we just hope that the listener will understand and appreciate the power that we really put into this thing, man. I mean, it was a lot of effort, especially on Blake's part, man. I mean, just being everything. And he's got 8 arms when he's drumming, and of course he's doing all his programming and the production aspect. I mean, he put a lot of time into this, man, and because he wanted to make something that he's putting his name on that he wants to be proud of. And
Yeah.
we all feel that this is just my opinion, man. Everything. If you don't mind me saying that, did you listen to the older stuff, Keith? Did you ever listen to No God, No
Yes,
Peace?
I did, yeah.
Okay, so I'm a perfectionist when it comes to like certain riffs and songs and structures and everything, how I like things and how I like it to flow. But there's a bar that we had with No God, No Peace, and I wanted everything that was going to be on this album to be something better than that best song on No God, No Peace. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be everybody's favorite, but as far as like the impact that it has, and just the lasting impression that that song will make on so many people that get to experience it. That's just something that means a lot to me, and that's something that I take personally. I take a lot of pride in that, man. So yeah, that's yeah. I'm talking a lot, Keith. I'm so sorry. Go
Oh,
ahead.
you're here to talk.
I'll interview you. How's that? We'll just interview you for the
Yeah.
next hour. Okay.
I appreciate, Keith, that that was one of the things that you brought up is the album experience, because that's a decision that we made relatively early on. And so from that point forward, everything was kind of built with that in mind. And so we came up with a song order. We had a few different ideas. Damien ultimately had the final song order worked out. And so with that, I was able to kind of craft the sampling, the programming to bridge each song together and kind of make it cohesive. But it wouldn't have been possible if we hadn't made that decision early on enough in the process to make it happen and make it seamless.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And did you guys do something special on January 29th, on the day of the release?
We released the album.
Yeah. I was busy mailing stuff out to people all across the world. That's what I was doing.
I was watching Ted Lasso. What a great series. Huh.
So yeah, it's kind of anticlimactic in that sense, but gotta take care of business, man.
We were really just
Yeah.
pressing things out. We were working with our publicist to make sure that the releases were going out on time, that all the copy text was written, from handling the website to just working out everything with the distributor and getting everything to the stores on time.
Yeah.
And that was great because Apple and iTunes, well, Apple was actually running a pre-release for about I
Yeah.
think about 9 days. So we had some pre-orders on the album too, which was great. As soon as we put the message out that pre-orders were available. Unfortunately, it was on Apple only, but a lot of people that actually use iTunes or Apple Music, they went there and they actually pre-ordered the album. I mean, the number of streams that I'm seeing is just insane. I've been tracking the streams, and it's definitely something that we're not accustomed to when it comes to the demand for that new release right there. But we also have never been so organized. Like, I mean, this is a very organized thing that we did, very structured. Working with Wendy Ford with imthepublicist.com to get everything out there on time, have the releases out there, and to get the feedback, the reviews, the placements. I mean, we hit 50 playlists within a couple of hours after Unflawed went in there.
Yeah.
We were already in a bunch of playlists with that new single, and it's not something we were used to. So it's great hearing that all these people are enjoying the music around the world. I mean, every country seems to be listening to our music right now. So it's very exciting, man, to share this with everyone.
Absolutely.
And speaking on the touring, are you guys having some big plans for 2025?
Not sure yet. There's a lot of irons in the fire, and I don't want to commit to anything and pull out. Blake made a really good point about some of the bands that are hitting the road right now. They have to pull off the tours because the money's just not there. When we went on the road before, gas was half of what it is, and that's a big cost. Luckily we had shirts that paid for the gas, and some other things here and there. We got by, but in the current situation, we're not going to get by. So we have to look at everything that's on the table, and collectively we'll make a decision. Hopefully we get out there. I would love to, but it's got to make sense, like Blake said.
My recommendation for people who want to experience the music is just stream the album, buy the album, listen to it on the best system that you can, listen to it with company. I mean, that's the best it's going to sound ever anyway. So that'll be the best experience. In terms of playing live, I mean, there's a lot of logistics that go into that, and every time that we've played, it's cost us money. No matter how many people are there, it's always an expense. And so last time we played was 2019, and since then, I mean, all of our lives are different. I've got a whole new place. I've got dependents now, and so I can't just go on the road for 3 weeks and say good luck to everybody.
Yes,
There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot. We're on a different place, and if we build an audience or if we make something happen, is the stream still
He's
going?
still recording. Keep going, Blake.
You still going? Yeah.
I
So
don't want to talk to you. See
it's
ya.
only about that. I can knock on the
we're
door.
just our focus right now is just getting the album to people and having them enjoy the music as it is. In terms of playing live, yeah, it's not something that I'm focused on right now. It's just getting people listening to it.
I mean, honestly, what happens? You have to create that demand, and in order for this album to create that demand, it has to hit at the right outlets, the right times. It has to hit the right ears, and after that, that's where deals start falling into place. You do see like Damien was saying, there's a lot of big bands that actually pulled off of things because of money situations, because of logistics or whatever, and it's true. I mean, our best interest right now is we have to make sure that our livelihoods they remain intact, that we can take care of our families and whatnot too, and metal is not always the best source of music for just, money doesn't just come shitting down on you from the fucking sky. That's not how it works. But if you put out a good product, a good album, and you really gel with your listeners and you engage with people that are enjoying the music, that's going to create a demand. So when it comes, and we'll entertain those, but we're going to look at everything and dissect it and make sure that it's going to work for us and benefit us. It has to. I mean, this is like anything else. This is a business. I'm not saying that this album is business. That's not what it was. We just wanted to put the best thing out there. And I mean, there's a lot of anger in this album, man. I mean, you can hear it in a lot of the songs that we're just fucking pissed off, dude. And it's because of
Yeah.
things that are happening around us.
The economy, it's fucking bullshit, man. The
Yeah.
economy here is just a shit show. And it goes back to, bands pulling off of bills because we're not the only one affected by it. I mean, everybody is. Sucks. I mean, nothing's forever. The great's not forever. The suck's not forever. Just feels like forever. But we'll see what we get and make a decision. There are things that are out there though.
What's interesting about this art form is that it starts from an honest place, and you create the art with that original intent. But then once it's packaged up, then it's time to do the business side of things and then look at things analytically and logistically and how are things going to work moving forward. We're in a spot to where we can continue writing and developing music. I feel like that would be actually more productive than trying to figure out a tour situation because we're living across the country and we're all separated anyway. So if we put that same time and effort into writing new songs and getting new stuff out there, then we can put it out and immediately the whole world can enjoy it just the same as they are with Call Me the Devil. So it's a matter of like what priorities do we want to focus on and what makes sense for moving forward, given our livelihood. Because every other day I'm seeing people quitting music or getting off tours and stuff because shit's intense.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Keith, how is the scene out where you are? What city are you in?
I will live in the deep south of India. It's not a bigger city here. Like I used
Deep South.
deep
Look
south.
at you.
I like to use the word deep
The
south.
Texas of India.
The Texas.
Yeah.
What kind of scene is there? Like metal scene, like where you are? Do you have to travel for shows or anything?
Yes, I have to travel for shows to Bangalore because that's the place where regularly the concerts happen.
Bangalore, yeah, that was the first city you told me when we logged on. Okay,
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. So that's where I'm heading
What-
this weekend for the festival.
What are you seeing as far as a metal scene in India and other parts of Southeast Asia?
It's huge, brother, to be honest with you. So we have killer bands coming from all around the world. Like we even had Extreme the end of 2024. They came and
You
played
said the band Extreme?
Extreme. Yes, they came.
Extreme? You mean
Yeah.
like Nuno Betancourt
Yes,
Extreme?
yes, you know that word. Yeah.
Are you
They're still
fucking
around?
shitting me?
He came here end of 2024. He was here in Bangalore. So there are a lot of bands keep coming here, to be honest.
Keith, I have a very important question for you. Did
Go
you get
ahead.
the funk out or what? I know that was corny. I'm sorry. We're actually on Instagram. Um, I handle a lot of the Instagram duties because I'm me and my little flighty fingers. These guys are busy during the day, and I'm just like, oh, I talk to these people. But there's a couple of bands from Southeast Asia. Actually, one band from Indonesia, this punk band, has been just blowing up our inbox. Like, when are you guys going to tour Eastern Europe? We want to go with you guys. Just like, hold on, brother, hold on. And I guess they've been around since the 80s
Mm.
in Indonesia, and they're a punk thrash metal band. And they're just like, we love the new stuff that you guys are doing. We want to tour with you guys. It'd be a lot of fun. We'll just raise hell and everything else. Just like Christ, how many countries are going to be wanted in if we tour with these guys? Holy shit, you know. But it's been cool getting the response from other countries like Brazil, Argentina. I mean, hitting us up big. A lot of different airplay down there, especially with Apple Music down in those areas. Um, just the different magazines from other countries that are putting us out there as far as reviews or placements or previewing our songs online. Again, it goes back to creating that demand right there. And if the demand's there, then things are going to come in, and whether it's a festival or a mini tour or something, we do, like I said, we just have to weigh everything and make sure that it's not going to be detrimental to our own lives and our livelihoods.
So are you guys working something to go around other viewers in the coming days for, I mean, late end of 2025?
Yeah, see what pops in, man. Let's see what happens.
Cool. Cool.
We
I
already
mean, we'll
got
Just
tell
the,
you
tell
when
you.
we do.
I was gonna say we already got the three new music videos, which was pretty cool. Leading up to the release, and there might be another one maybe coming out a little bit later. I don't know. But again, there's a lot of moving pieces. There's a lot on the table, and there's a lot of talk. You know, is there going to be a lot of action? So that will be determined. So wish we had more for you right now. I wish we could say, yeah, we're going on the road, but we're just not right now.
Fantastic, fantastic. And speaking of the band, the history goes back to 1998 when it all started, and you came up with your first EP position in 1999 and Salvation in 2002, and Three Sixes, your first album in 2004. And after almost 10 years, No God, No Peace, and now again after 10 years, you have come up.
Yeah,
So there's a long delay in each album. So was there any particular reason behind it?
life, you know, just life, band member changes, um,
That's
different
that's a
things
big one,
happen.
Damien. That's a big
Hmm?
one, man. The band member
Yeah,
things, that's a big one. Yeah.
dude, it's like we've never recorded with the same lineup more than once. Ever.
See, with Blake, at least we found someone that's prettier than us. Before, Damien and I couldn't find anybody that was as good looking as us. But now we have someone.
I got a face made for radio, so yeah.
You know what though? I mean, life has happens. I mean, I'm a dad. My son was born in 2004, and we were actually writing, and we just started with the first full length. Before that, we just did the EP. But let Damien tell you about the how Three Sixes came about, man. That's actually quite a just a big story and how it expanded too.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I was in a thrash band for about a decade, and we were signed to a little label, and then just ran its course. So a friend of mine was a techno DJ and asked me if I would do a song for him, and I'm like, sure. So I go in there. I'm like, what do you want me to sing? He's like, just make stuff up. I'm like, what do you mean make stuff up? Just make up anything. I'm like, okay. So I drink a couple Newcastles, slam some whiskey, and just started saying shit and screaming and stuff. Have no idea what's going on. And then I go, what's the name of the song going to be? And they're like, fuck Deep House. I'm like, what's Deep House? And he's like, fuck it. I'm like, all right. So I did the song, and then it became his biggest selling single at the time, which I thought was funny. And so they just had all this techno music, and they just dropped my voice and all over and stretched me and stuff. And I'm like, I don't even get this. So then I talked to the producer at the time, and I said, "Hey, can we write some songs? I just want something to do until I found a new band." And so we started writing more songs, and he's like, "You should put out an EP or something." And I'm like, "Okay." So I did, and the reaction towards it was pretty cool. But again, I was still looking for another band. This was a side project the whole time. It was not supposed to. I had no idea this was going to happen. And then there was a demand to play live. And so then I met Kill, and then I met other people, and then we formed a band, and then we started playing live, and we started getting bigger shows, and shit started getting really crazy real fast. And even though we weren't rock stars, we were certainly treated like it. It was pretty rad. I'll say that. And then, the demand just kept on going. It's just like, well, what are you gonna do now? I'm like, fuck, I don't know, another record, I guess. So the whole thing's just been ongoing the whole time. It started off as a gag. That's really what it was. If if I would have known this band would be going on for 25 years, I wouldn't have chosen the name Damien LaVey. Trust me. Um, that's why I just go by Damien. I'm trying to model myself after Dime. That he was Diamondback Daryl, then Dimebag Daryl, then just Dime. I just want to be D, just like a D. That'd be cool. But no, it's been a great ride along the way, and I met these guys, and just super proud of what we've done.
Interesting.
How's that for an answer, Keith?
Awesome. Awesome. And and as a band, how do you guys feel about the long road that you have traveled so far?
Woo, Blake, you know what, Blake? Let's hear your experience, man, because you've had quite a unique experience coming into the band and learning these songs and everything, and just putting the pedal to the metal and actually just increasing the amount of depth and dynamic that you bring to the band.
Well,
I'm
we
curious how
did
you.
make him employee of the month on the road once.
Yes.
Yeah. About that, I work in my office right here, and I brought my laptop on tour with us so I could work while playing. And on tour, the sleep schedule is a mess, so I was trying to work, and then I fell asleep on the couch, and then you got a picture of me.
Yeah, his laptop is right on his lap, and he's just like this sleeping. And so I took a picture of him and I
Yeah.
texted it to him. I'm like, employee of the month.
Well, going back to when things first started, I had heard of the band before. My mom was a friend of Damien, and I just heard the name Three Sixes. She went to some of their earlier shows. When it came time for them to look for a new drummer, they were hanging out, working on some fitness stuff. And then my name came up, and she showed him some of my old drum covers, and I do drum covers on YouTube sometimes. And so he
Wait,
asked if I,
we were doing fitness
huh?
stuff. Davey and I were. Oh wait.
No.
Okay. I'm sorry. I was losing track there for a minute. Okay, I thought like we were doing fitness stuff.
Well, we could, but so my name got thrown in the ring, and then they were asking if I would be interested in auditioning. So I learned the songs. I didn't have a drum set at the time. I'd been playing drums, but I was between homes, so I just had a practice pad. So the first time I actually played the songs, they gave me 4 songs. The first time I played them on a kit was for the audition, and I still have the videos. And it was really rough, but they saw enough of me to where they thought like if we get him a lockout, which is something I had not heard of before, then I think he'll put in the work to do the stuff, get to the point to where he can play the songs. So I was in college at the time, getting my degree for computer science, and in the meantime, just jamming, playing drums on my little pads. And then once I officially joined the band, Damien and I were looking for places, and then he found a lockout through an old connection of his. And then, so then I just had a room to myself that was 24/7 access, and I can go and be as loud as I want for as long as I want. So I'd wake up and either go to work or go to school, and then I'd go to the lockout and practice until like 1 in the morning like a few times a week, and then just kind of cycling through that. And I built my life around little rooms, and I'd go from this room to this room to this room, either like at school or at work or playing drums, and just kind of continued through that for until I got to the point to be able to play the songs that are on No God, No Peace. And then I had other ambitions. I listened to crazy music and I want to be able to play it. And so I just kind of kept going and doing what I could to practice and get better. I connected with excellent drum teacher James Payne, who was able to show me a lot of advanced techniques that were able to propel me forward in terms of my playing. During all this, I was signed up with URM Academy, so it's Ultimate Recording Machine. It's an online school for producers and musicians and mixers and all this stuff. So I was studying computer science in college, practicing drums for this band, studying audio engineering at URM. And once I had all these kind of things going on, I was able to bring more to the table as time went by. And so all the demos and stuff we recorded, I was the host for all that. And it didn't really sound great because I didn't have the experience, and we were anticipating using other producers or other mixers, outsourcing all that work. But I had, over the course of how long it took to actually get to the point of making the album, when all of our lives, had got to the point to line up to actually make this happen, I felt competent enough to handle the production. So the drums and the production were kind of fell to me, and I was stoked about it because it was a chance to exercise all these skill sets that I had been building the previous decade. So it was a great learning opportunity for me, great exercise essentially, and able to make something with these guys that sounds pretty cool. I think it's the best work I've done, and yeah, it was a long journey with an interesting start. But you just got to do the reps, got to put the time in, and 10,000 hours, 20,000 hours, whatever it's going to be to get to the point of competency to where you can then have a skill set that you can work with other people to create the art that you are actually envisioning. And it was a lot of work still to get things done. Nothing really ran smooth. It was still process and it was still work, and still had to find ways to adapt to certain situations, make sure our visions were aligned and have those conversations and stuff. But yeah, this was not an overnight thing. This is last 10 years of all of us going through stuff and learning a lot, and now finally putting into practice.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I gotta admit, when we originally talked about Blake doing the record and recording it, I was not for it because when we did the Salvationless demo, we had a guy that was in the band that was learning on the job, and it just a fucking shit show. And we had to have somebody else come in and clean it up, and so I was kind of paranoid about that. But Blake's not that dummy, so and the more he started doing, the more it was obvious that that he could do it. And what he had questions for, he had a great resource in URM to go ask people, and they could be very specific, about the song or about the tuning on this song or the EQ or whatever it is. And he fucking knocked it out of the park, man. I couldn't be more proud of what he did.
Awesome. And
Oh, great. Oh, I have to do my crunches and go to the bank. So I was just, I'll just think.
and
Anyway,
God, that was so funny. Like, what
no,
are you doing?
there's a man. We've come a long way. I mean, we be honest, we worked with great producers with our first full length album, and then with No God No Peace,
yeah,
with Rob Gainey and then Marco Wilson, and we had great experience with those guys.
Yeah.
Nothing but the best for those guys. We love those guys, and they were able to bring out the best in us at that time. But I'll tell you, man, with what Blake is learning, and I mean, and granted, I've been living out here in Florida for a while. I'm across the country working, and these guys are in California. But Damien's been able to see Blake grow and mature as a musician, as a writer, as a producer, and most of all as a drummer, and just seeing his technique just improve and improve. And I mean, I'm just blown away with it. Just how far he's come, man. I mean, we couldn't have done this without Blake, obviously, and not just as a drummer because he's fucking awesome and I love the guy, but just the production aspect that he brings and what he was able to bring out of myself and Damien, and really hold himself accountable to creating the best possible musical experience or bringing his own drums and composition and programming to each song. I mean, he wants to put his stamp of approval on it, and he's got his name all over this fucking album, just like we do. So we have to make sure that we're
Yeah.
putting out the great product. I mean, it's what it is. But I mean, it's been honor and a pleasure to work with these guys on this album, man. I mean, it's been nothing but a great experience, man.
Fantastic. And
Wait,
and guys, finally, any message that you have for the Three Sixes fans around the world?
um, keep spread the name, keep listening to the music, and yeah, I guess that would be it for me.
Yeah. Thank you for
Question,
listening for those who have.
Yeah, thank you.
question everything. You don't have to live by the
Yes.
status quo. Listen to metal. If you want to smoke weed, smoke weed. If you want to own guns, own guns. If you want to be pro-choice, be pro-choice. Who gives a fuck? Be
Right.
yourself, but most importantly, um, worship Satan, I guess. Just kidding, Keith. Keith, I don't want you to declare war on 3 6s, okay, pal? No, most importantly, yeah, it is. And just enjoy the experience and really allow yourself to become immersed in the music, man, and find out what message it brings to you. And I mean, I have guys hitting us up right now on Instagram just telling us about what they like about each song. And I'll tell you what, man, these locos, they're like, I like this song, I like this song, I like this song. I'm like, can't you guys get on the same fucking page? But no, that's the best part of music. It's subjective, right? So every
No,
song
it's
is going to be
totally
something
true
different to everyone.
because I'm certain people have the CD, and it was funny when we were writing in the early stages. Some friends came to visit, and they didn't like one of the songs, and so I'm like, That's okay, it's fine." And then I found out later that they love the second half of the CD, not the first, where the singles are at, basically, but the second. And I'm like, wait a minute, you didn't like one of those songs. Well, I love it now. I'm like, okay. And then you got people say, I love the first half. And then you got other people saying, I love the whole thing. And it's always been like that, with us. There's been a couple of songs that always worked, and we always play them. But aside from that, this one's really no different in the fact that everybody's got their own favorites for their own reasons. That's really cool.
Fantastic. And guys, I want to thank you so much for giving me today this wonderful opportunity to have you guys on the show. And thanks so much for Call Me the Devil, the new album, which is out on 29th of January. A great album, like I said earlier. I really enjoyed each and every song from this album. It's a honest opinion from me. I totally love this album. And thanks for all the musical awesomeness that you have been giving us over the years. And fantastic work from you guys. And I'm looking for more great new music from you guys real soon. I don't have to wait for another 10 years.
Jesus Christ. This is what just came out, Keith. Give it some time, bro. We're tired, bro. No, we appreciate you, man. I mean, just keep pumping that album, okay? You are responsible for everyone in India. How many people do you have now? Like 16 billion? How many people are down? Your fucking responsibility, Keith. Bro, you got to put the album out and be like, you need to listen to these guys because, hey, you never know. We might hit a stage in India and, it might be like the apocalypse because there'll be so many damn people there. And then, the earth shifts. And by the way, what's your favorite type of curry, man? Do you like curry and all that stuff?
Not a big fan of Indian curries. Sorry to say that.
I mean, blasphemy is the name of the game, I guess, but oh my God. No, man, it's what though, but really pump it up, brother. And if there's something, we can do to help you, let us know, man. I mean, we really want to get the word out there and get the music out there. And right now it's well received all over the world from what I'm seeing online. So it'd just be great to have some more feedback from people in India as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And thanks so much, guys. And wish you a great evening out there. And I really
Keith, thank you for the time, man. Appreciate you,
Yeah,
and thank
thank
you
you
for the
very
kind
much.
words
We really
too.
appreciate it. Thank you.
take care and have a great evening.
All right, you too.
You too, man. Have a good day, man. Thank you.